Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zikri Zanati Fitrianto. My name is 247010019 and I'm here to collect PI assignment about euthanasia. There are four questions. The first question is what is euthanasia? Etymologically, euthanasia comes from two Greek words, eu meaning well and thanatos meaning death. So it means a good or easy death. In the course of time, the meaning of the term gained the connotation of mercy killing. The common synonym for euthanasia, therefore, in the lay and professional vocabularies has been mercy killing. In Arabic works on euthanasia, the term has been rendered as qatalur rahmah, meaning literally mercy killing. Merriam-Webster dictionary defines euthanasia as an easy and painless death, or an act or method of causing death painlessly so as to end suffering, advocated by some as a way to deal with victims of incurable disease. The Oxford Advanced Learner Dictionary also defines euthanasia as the practice of killing without pain of a person who is suffering from an incurable or an painful disease. Number two, what is active euthanasia and what is the Islamic ruling or hukum on it? Um, Active euthanasia is a narrow construal of euthanasia. This is real euthanasia because it refers to intentional death of a terminally ill patient by action. Technically, active euthanasia includes suicide. Suicide occurs when someone provides an individual with information, guidance, and means to take his or her own life with the intention that it will be used for this purpose. Likewise, when it is a doctor who helps another person to kill the patient, it is called physician-assisted suicide. Therefore, the definition of active euthanasia is a physician act that causes a terminally ill person's death intentionally for the reason of mercy. A physician should not take part in terminating the life of a patient. This particularly applies to the following cases of what is known as mercy killing. A. The deliberate killing of a person who voluntarily asks for his life to be ended. B. Physician assisted suicide. And C. The deliberate killing of newly born infant with deformities that may or may not threaten their life. Summarily, mercy killing is ethically wrong and it comes under the broader guidelines of the Quran and Sunnah, which is against killing innocent beings and against participating or collaborating in committing sin. Or in the Quran, chapter 5, verse 2 states, "And do not help each other in sin or ism and aggression." Yusuf al-Qaradawi, while analyzing opinions of Islamic scholars on medication formulates the following position regarding the issue of euthanasia. This act, active euthanasia, is Islamically forbidden, for it encompasses a positive role on the part of the physician to end the life of the patient and hasten his death through lethal injection, electric shock, or a sharp weapon, or any other way. This is an act of killing, and killing is a major sin and thus forbidden in Islam. Number three, what is passive euthanasia and what is the Islamic ruling or hukum on it? Passive euthanasia is also known as euthanasia by omission or as negative euthanasia. This happens when one withholds or withdraws the necessary or extraordinary medical treatment from a terminally ill patient, thus allowing the patient to die. There are some scholars who do not treat passive euthanasia as euthanasia. Outright rejection or permission of a passive euthanasia would not be appropriate without making it clear what it is and how different cases under it could be categorized. Some form of passive euthanasia are: first, withdrawing medical treatment from terminally ill patient. Second, withholding medical treatment from terminally ill patient. Third is pain medication that may hasten death of a terminally ill patient as a side effect. Fourth, discontinuing life support systems such as ventilator. Five, refusing medical treatment to terminally ill patient. And six, do not resuscitate or DNR. Passive euthanasia, as explained above, does not mean one single method but a variety of options a physician and patient face. Since it is unanimously held that passive euthanasia is not about failing to implement medical treatment for patients to recover, but for those patients who die due to underlying disease. He, or Yusuf al-Qaradawi, however, differentiates it from mercy killing as it follows. But it is different from the controversial mercy killing, as it does not imply a positive action on the part of the physician. On permissibility of suspension of treatment, Al-Qaradawi says, as for the suspension of medical treatment via preventing the patient from his due medication, which is from a medical perspective, to be useless. This is permissible and sometimes it is even recommended. Thus, the physician can do this for the sake of the patient comfort and relief to his family. Nothing is wrong in this. And number 4, what does international human rights law say about active euthanasia? International human rights law does not explicitly recognize a right to activate euthanasia, nor does it categorically prohibit it. Instead, it addressed the issue indirectly through a broader principles such as the right to life, protection from inhuman or degrading treatment, and respect for private life and political and personal autonomy. The right to life, the right to live, the right to life, as stated in Article 6 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, or ICCPR, and 2 articles of the European Convention on Human Rights, or ECHR, is traditionally interpreted to protect life rather than to confer a right to die. Leading opponents of euthanasia to argue that its legalization undermines the obligation to safeguard life. However, proponents highlight other rights in support of euthanasia in regulated circumstances. Article 7 of the ICCPR, which prohibits torture and cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment, is often cited to argue that denying terminally ill individuals the choice to end unbearable suffering might itself constitute a human right violation. Similarly, Article 17 of the ICCPR and Article 8 of the ACHR, which protect the right to privacy and personal autonomy, are interpreted to include the right to make deeply personal decisions about one's own body and death. Nevertheless, courts have been consistently ruled that such rights are not absolute and may be limited to protect life and prevent abuse. The European Court of Human Rights has addressed the issue in cases such as Preti v. United Kingdom 2002, where it held that ACHR does not guarantee a right to die, and Haas v. Switzerland on 2011, where it acknowledged the relevance of private life, but emphasized the broad discretion or margin of appreciation that states have regulating sensitive moral matters. Overall, international human rights law international human rights law does not establish a universal right to active euthanasia, but instead leaves the decision to individual state, provide they respect core principles such as the protection of life, preventing of suffering, and human dignity. Consequently, there is no international consensus on the legality of active euthanasia. Some countries like Netherlands, Belgium, and Canada have legalized it under strict conditions, while others like the United Kingdom continue to prohibit it. The global legal and ethical landscape reflects a complex balancing act between the right to life and the right to die with dignity, resulting in a spectrum of positions shaped by cultural, legal, and moral consideration. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.